We are here with the 13th episode of Empower and Thrive, a holistic approach in business. Today we have a special guest, nonetheless the powerhouse not beside actually, the largest global women's health network and United Nations Women UK delegate. This is Bridie Houlihan. Hi, Bridie.
Wow, what an intro. I don't know if I can live up to that. Thank you.
Yes, I don't want to do the introductions. I'm not good at those. I really prefer the guests to talk about who they are, what's their mission, and what they're up to at the moment. So, Brady, I'll leave the floor to you, and then we're gonna crack on with the questions.
Well, so I'm Bridie Houlihan. I'm based here in Devon in the UK. I'm an product and program developer within the public sector, so life-saving products and programs. Then I pivoted into academia and women's health, and then I created the Women's Health Impact Network about a year and a half ago because I saw a global need for an interconnected, inclusive, joined up ecosystem within women's health. If we're truly going to move the needle forwards, we need one space where we can all come together without silos to do that.
That's concise, to the point, and better than my introduction.
That's what does it.
I am also I'm one of the members of your community. It's an amazing platform, the Women Health Impact, a global impact platform, making really a real impact really on the gender gap. I've seen so much going on in terms of awareness for all the women out there. You don't have to have a background. I don't have a background in medical or anything like that similar, but I think it's a great platform for whoever is an enthusiast, an advocate, whoever supports and supports the community and your work, really, your mission. It's amazing.
But your skill set is a key cog in closing the gender health gap. We need marketeers and branders and app developers. We need everybody who plays a part in enabling that change to be able to come together. So you are. You are a key part.
In my own world, in my small world, yes, I might. Yes, thank you for that, Bridie. Yes, you enjoy your coffee in the meantime whilst I do the questions. Although the session is for you to tell us more about the mission that the Global Women Health Network is about, and how are you planning to do that in terms of gender gap? What is the approach to that?
We have a really simple approach, actually, and that is by bringing everybody together and fostering the ability to network and connect and potentially collaborate. We then create more impact and more output. So it's not necessarily needing funding or investment or any of these big, long accelerators, which are all great components for some people. But actually, we believe that by just joining people up and fostering conversations and raising awareness and understanding how each other works, we then in turn move the gender health gap forwards and help reduce it.
Simple in words, but a massive, I think it's a massive piece of work behind the scenes that is happening with you, the members and collaborators and advocates, obviously, in the health impact. Because this is such a global organization, so talking about global, this is the message needs to be sent across and spread across, actually, on a global scale. Because obviously we have the social media, we have the marketing, the digital space. How do you think this is an effective tool to empower those women behind, with their voices, not behind in this case, but with their voices to amplify the message of the women health impact and have an impact actually on women health?
Well, social media is key and representation is key. And so because we are global, one of our things that we had to really be careful was to make sure that we're not one world view of women's health and not one world view of how to close the gender health gap. And so we really, by doing that and wanting to not put that forward, by showcasing everybody else's stories, we're able to almost remove our standpoint, or we try to as much as possible, by showcasing impact makers' voices from around the world and other women's health policy and data struggles from around the world. And this is a piece of work that's big for us this year, and social media is key for that. And representation is key. I think in the women's health space with femtech and other spaces, there's lots of Forbes 30 under 30 lists and impactful 100 women of the year to look out for. And a lot of people actually feel like if they're not on these lists, then maybe they're not doing enough or they're not making the impact. And so by showcasing so-called normal people making an impact in this space, we're helping to show representation that anybody can do this. Anybody can make their impact. You don't need to be on a list or have an award or have a black Chanel bag, or, you know, it kind of gets branded as looking a certain way. But actually there's lots and lots of normal folk out there doing phenomenal impact work quietly away in the background, and we want to share them with the world.
Wonderful. Yes. I do agree, obviously, with the work and what is behind the scenes, and I can understand how much is going on. But I also have a feeling that a lot of business leaders or business owners or founders, in this case, come against, not against, but they are a bit in a mindset block when it comes to showing up confidentially, helping others overcome this not the fear of the digital world, of sending the message out there, but how can they? So what are the strategies, actually, to cut it short? What strategies can the community, members of the community, use to shift that mindset block into something more confidential, more open?
Well, I think it depends on whether you're, well, first off, lots of people start as a solo founder, and or they could be somebody within their career in their company already wanting to make an impact within their company, or wanting to do something on the side or move to another company that does more within the women's health space. And so quite often the journey starts as one person. And I think to help with confidence, there's a lot of people out there talking about personal branding versus company branding and what to do, but we all start off as our individual selves. And my best advice is to not try and look or be or sound or act like anybody other than you, because all that's going to do is create a friction, and it's not going to be sustainable. And then you're going to fall flat, because you're going to show up and it's not going to be that AI version of yourself, or it's not going to be how you actually speak in real life. And so be authentic, and be proud of who you are. Lots of people don't come from money. Lots of people are bootstrapping it themselves, but share that journey. Be proud of that. Wear it outwards and inspire others who can then relate to you. And then that will in turn build confidence in you being who you truly, authentically are.
Just unmuting myself again. Bridie, you touched the point of my next question, actually, about what is one tip, right? So to show up consistently and be open in the mindset and have this shift that you are able to deliver your message. You are there. So why not use your capacity, your power, your knowledge to do that? So one little tip.
Be you, be authentic, and don't beat yourself up. I've never met anybody who can be consistent. I haven't met a single soul who posts every day on social media at the same time. I don't know who they are. Maybe Stephen Bartlett, but he has a team, right? So you don't have a team. So just ease up on yourself, but be authentic.
Authentic. That's a great message, actually, to send across. I think we need another conversation about authenticity, and we can look at that in the future, definitely. But I also want to understand, because obviously women are going to deliver the message of empowerment, of closing the gender gap, and so on in the community space, in your community space, or in any community for that matter. But I want to understand. How can they share also their little wins. Little or big doesn't matter, because by sharing the wins, I believe there is an opportunity there for people to see that something is happening. So I did it. Why not you?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, it comes back to representation, doesn't it? We have to showcase these, but also I'd say to share the failures and what you've learned. You know,
That's bitter.
yeah, most successful posts have been about how this thing went wrong, and I'm human, and I don't always wear a white suit jacket, and there's some biggest lessons learned in that. But also to share the wins too, because we need to see so-called normal average people winning and celebrating these milestones. And I think lots of people struggle, especially when you're in the health space, because it is quite political, especially now more than ever, and it can be quite cantankerous at times and sensitive of what that win might be. Maybe it's a client's win, maybe it's a contract win, and you can't always share the details. So find a way that you can maybe share it as a personal success. You've gone the next step, but still do share about it, because it's amazing how many people can relate to you, and you will find your group of people then, and nothing feels better. Nothing will help you show up more confidently and consistently if you feel like the group you have around you online is a safe space of peers rather than sharks. And so sharing those will shift that for you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Bridie. I've spoken with different, obviously, guest speakers, and one of the questions that I really like to ask is the comparison. The comparison model, the comparison moment when we compare ourselves with someone else, be it in the health space, wealth space, whatever space we're in or we are working towards. Tell me something. Share with us. I don't want to tip, but what's your take on that, on the comparison with others?
Oh, it is a demon on my shoulder that is there weekly, if not sometimes daily. It's one of the hardest battles that I have faced during the creation of the Women's Health Impact Network. It's been really the loudest voice that has spoken to me negatively during this journey. And at times it has not derailed, but it changes your lens on how you see things. And it has been an onward struggle of mine. So I now, to help myself with that, I will listen to audiobooks. There's a great book, Let Them by Mel Robbins. It has phenomenally helped me with this, of just letting go of that and then giving me my power back to let me make other decisions or think, feel in a different way. And I would say it's cliche, but Atomic Habits has helped me as well, because I'm building positive habits towards the goals that I want to achieve. Whereas me sitting down and benchmarking against my competitors and then feeding my imposter syndrome is maybe not the best monthly KPI for me to be doing.
Can we go back to the imposter syndrome? Actually, not back. Can we talk about that a bit more, a bit longer, about the imposter syndrome? The imposter syndrome obviously will block us from the message we want to convey. Relationships can be of any sort because we are not taking action. Let's talk about business in this case, or spreading the message of the global health impact. So what's the impact that it has globally? So how can we reduce, or how can we discourage, or how can we work to beat the imposter syndrome? What can be one of the ways?
Well, for me, it was reading those books. It taught me habits, and it taught me a mindset shift to help me beat my imposter syndrome. So those two books I mentioned, and then it was changing my behaviors around what goals I track myself in my business, because they were linked to me comparing myself to others, and it was making me show up differently. So now my measures of success aren't where I benchmark against others, but where I benchmark against my own goals. And that lens shift changed a lot of things for me. So now I'm only competing against myself. I'm not competing against anybody else. And now I don't view them as competitors. I view them as neighbours and colleagues and friends. And so it's really helped me shift out of, I don't have a right to have a space here, to actually, no, I do. And these are just different types of relationships, and I've reframed them in my mind, and it's freed up my headspace greatly.
Wonderful. About the so we touched about imposter syndrome. We touched a bit on not a bit on encouragement, on the self doubt. Actually, a bit more on the self doubt. I'd like to know a bit more. I know these things are very much linked together, but we all self doubt ourselves, definitely, in pieces of work, in daily life, in goals, even the goals. Some we take them as not achievable. We think they are not achievable. But would you think that adjusting our mindset is
So
what will help us?
interestingly, I don't doubt myself. I
Wonderful.
don't doubt myself at all. I know I can do it, and I am doing it. It's whether it, for me, it's the question of how healthy I'm going to be at the end of it. And that was the thing I needed to shift in my headspace, because I didn't want to reach my goals and be a former mental health shadow of myself. I still wanted to reach my goals and be able to celebrate them and be conscious and happy and present. But actually, the imposter syndrome was running a risk of me not reaching the end of my goals in a positive, happy space. With mental health really is what it comes down to. And so valuing my mental health and feeding that in helps everything. I think, I don't know, lots of people I know, I have my goal and I'm going to get it. I'm very tenacious. I am get out of my way world. I am going after that goal. And I don't doubt that I'm going to get it. It's just whether the process of which I'm going to do that.
Would you think that prioritizing is one of productive ways?
I think it's interesting. I was speaking to another friend the other day who's a founder in business. They have a very different business to me. And we were saying that last year, so both in our early founding stages, we completely neglected ourselves, our well-being, our mental health, our social circles. They just went out the window. And this year we don't want to do that. And so we've both said we're scheduling in a 20-minute run every morning, and we are going networking in person. And it's not about making business contacts and leads. It's about getting out of the office and having human contact with like-minded people. And so scheduling in these kind of non-negotiables of well-being and human contact are key to us to move that forwards healthily,
Wonderful.
happily.
It will happen, yes. Everything with a plan and a structure obviously will lead to the goal, I guess. But also, I was in a little workshop a week ago or something, and one of the business coaches, she mentioned she took us on not on a journey, but she put forward a question and said, "Do you think that the goals needs adjusting? So, do you feel that your goals will be adjusted along the way?" Or do you think that the goals are there and you have to reach those goals no matter what? I want your take on this.
No, nothing's set in stone. You're in control, right? You're the business owner, the entrepreneur, the person creating the project. You don't, just because you've written it on a piece of paper or a spreadsheet, you don't have to whip yourself with it. And also, I think smart decision making is being able to ebb and flow and adapt. And maybe some goals need to be stretched. For example, we've reached one of our yearly goals in January already. So I absolutely need to stretch it. But whereas some of the others are not on track, so I need to break that down and adjust. But business and impact ebbs and flows just as politics around us, all the influencing factors do around us. So we have to be flexible with it. We can't beat ourselves up with them. It's my take.
That's a good take. I think not I think, but I do agree. And also during a networking event, we were talking about the values. So the values and the goals, they are all linked together. So if your values, so the takeaway actually was that if your values change, so your goals change. And vice versa. If your goals are changing, perhaps your values need adjusting a little bit. Not primarily, but that's the thing. behind our decisions, I guess. Would
Yeah,
you agree with that, Bridie?
so in part, I mean, I think your values and your mission statement of your business or your project that you're working on are your cornerstones, and take the time to really set them in stone. Lots of people do them after when they're creating their web page. No, that's your first thing that you do. Otherwise, what's your homing point? What's your boomerang and your goals and your work coming back to? How do you know if you've been successful or not? How do you know if your messaging is right or not? How do you know if your partnerships are right or not? And it will all come back to your mission statement and your values. And it can be your biggest decision maker. You can say no to things very quickly if you just go back to your values and your mission statement. And you can cut out a lot of the stuff that you're doing. But I would say they don't change. If you spend the time to do them properly, obviously review them, tweak them once a year, maybe-ish. But I mean, change one word, not the whole thing, because then I would say your business is changing.
Bridie, one question about the values, please. I know I'm not supposed to ask you so many questions, but I'm so excited about this conversation.
I've got 3 questions on the list, Jona.
I would go on forever, but please.
Go on.
How many values do you have, Bridie? Let's say for the women health impact. I know a few of them, but list me or tell me the number. Don't tell me you have 20. We don't have time, but
we have one value statement and one mission statement, and they're one sentence each.
That's synthetic. That's very compressed.
It was hard work. But
absolutely, I agree with that. Great. Right, anything you want to add for the viewers or whoever is watching the replay? I haven't got any questions so far from the live, but if people are watching, please do drop them in the comments. I usually say, not for me, direct them to Bridie or DM Bridie, and then she'll come back to you.
Send them over.
Yeah.
I would just say that your mental well-being and imposter syndrome can be a trigger for that. Don't ignore it. The health of your business and your impact and your work is going to be as healthy as what you are. And so it's a non-negotiable. Everything filters and comes through and comes out of you. And so if you're feeling like you're having a wobble, or you're feeling like you're not good enough, or your imposter syndrome and your self-doubt is getting a bit too loud, just hit pause. Because by taking an hour out of your week for therapy, or to curate your feed on LinkedIn and Instagram to not have the people there that make you feel that way, is worth it. And then you can come back stronger.
So every little thing that we introduce to ourselves in the well-being world, either physically or mentally, it has a benefit, obviously, and it impacts our work.
It has to be prioritized. Otherwise, you'll just fall flat.
And obviously, I think also delivering what we're planning and setting the goals, I think it becomes more challenging.
Yeah, everything does, because your lens has changed on the world, and you need to wipe it clean.
We're going back to adjusting, to adjusting everything to beat. So being flexible in choices and reaching, not in the goals. Goals are goals, but getting to those goals.
Prioritize yourself. You have to. And if somebody's not making you feel good or making you feel less than, then just cut them out.
Wonderful. Bridie, anything you want to say to the viewers? Anything you want to add? Any planning, any events, anything, or any thing you're working at the moment that the audience must know and cheer up for you? Then definitely.
Just come and join us. If you're somebody who is working to close the gender health gap, and you're one of the key cogs, and there are many cogs that are needed, come and join us. I'll drop the link below if that's possible. We have a 30-day free trial, and we're global, and we're really impactful. We're really focused on not just talking about it, but actually rolling up our sleeves and doing it together. So come and join us.
Wonderful. So you're going to pop the link in the comments. Anything audience can watch something important. I don't know if you're hosting a webinar or you're hosting online meetup or something that
so we have bi-weekly
open, basically.
Women's Health Global Networking. That's all live on our website. I can drop that link below as well. When you become a WIN member, that's all included in your membership. We have some masterclasses coming up next month on how to develop your impactful women's health brand. So that's predominantly for business owners and founders within the women's health space. So curating your brand, designing your brand, and then content creation for your brand. So please do come along. But again, if you're a WIM member, that's all included in your membership, and it's only $11.99 a month. We're really low ticket so that we can be truly impactful and inclusive of everybody around the world.
Such a vibrant conversation. I really love this. Apologies for so many questions, but as I said, I would go on with this conversation. And yes, but we've got to wrap it up. And I think, that's it for today. Thank you so much, Bridie. Anything you want to add? Anything
Thank
at
you
all?
for having me. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, everyone, for watching the live. And if you are watching the replay, please, again, get in touch with Bridie, support her work. It's a massive community, and it's so worth it. Definitely joining in. Thank you, Bridie. See you later.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.